Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Karina. I'm your host. And in this webinar, our experts from StayNTouch, the Guestbook, and Nuvola will explain how to leverage data that will yield to greater operations and guest experiences. So for right now, join me in welcoming our speakers, Aldrich Schultz, who is the technical sales engineer at StayNTouch. He's skilled in creating uniquely engaging experiences across an expansive range of service needs and environments to assist hoteliers in revenue strategies via guest personalization. And Josh Binder, who is the director of business development at Nuvola. He started with the company in 2017, and Josh has been responsible for driving client growth, which now exceeds over 500 hotels spanning across 30 countries worldwide. And then Jessica Powell, who leads the Guestbook as the VP of Hotel Marketing. She's an expert brand builder combining analytics with consumer research to accelerate product innovation and develop meaningful communication strategies. Today, our experts will explain to you how you can capture guest data prior to the arrival and during guest stays to activate guest personalization, action and simplify vital data to optimize back of the house operation and elevate the guest satisfaction, and leverage guest insight to improve your marketing results and increase net revenue. At the end of this presentation, we're going to have a 15-minute Q&A session. So use this opportunity to ask your questions to our experts via the chat box, which is located at the bottom right of your screen. All the questions are going to be answered in the order they're received at the end of the presentation. So please, if you ask it, we'll answer it. So as of right now, I'm actually going to switch over to Aldrich, who'll talk to you more about capturing the data during and before the guest arrives to hotels. Aldrich?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Karina. So I'd like to start out by just saying that through the PMS, we have some unique opportunities to actually capture data. As you can see here, we are displaying a few options that the guests can actually do that. And like I said, this is prime opportunity for you to capture data from your guests. And we do that with digital guest engagement. If you have a PMS that allows you to do that, it's a great opportunity for you to engage with your guests, to update their profile for great information in regards to that. Where the hotel has guests coming in prior to their stay, you're actually able to send them invitations out to engage with them and collect this data. So you'll also find that in the privacy of their mobile phone or on their way traveling to the hotel, they will gladly volunteer this information to enhance their stay. There are a few ways that StayNTouch will actually enable you to have this type of experience with your guests. And as you can see, it incorporates the use of mobile phones with no app download, so it's very easy to adopt, as well as a kiosk solution that kind of completes that experience on site at the hotel. And it gives guests ample time to input their information, to select different things, as well as allowing them the privacy to share important details with you about their upcoming stay. Also in regards to preferences, and again, those profile data that you can capture as well at that kiosk. All of which can be customized to ensure a unique guest experience in the hands of the guests on the mobile phone, as well as on that at that kiosk at the property. Okay. The PMS will also increasingly gather and capture data with every reservation download. So if you have a connection to a CRS or a channel manager, we're also integrating that data to come into the PMS, and of course through direct interaction when you're reserving accommodations for your guests in real time. Okay. Here we can see that a great PMS will also synthesize that data that you've gathered. When we look at the type of data that the PMS will capture, you will actually see a very broad picture of your hotel's performance. You can see here a couple things like revenue data, company data, market data, group data, so on and so forth. You can actually capture lots of that information as well in the guest profile. Now, when we look also, the PMS can be a wealth of information and data when applied. And in the case here, we will also see intuitive access to guest performance statistics, meticulous profile details, for your marketing needs, as well as company and group performance as well, along with aggregated demographical information to include your market sources and so on. Okay. Here we can see the benefits of capturing data, and emphasize within the StayNTouch product, we have a visualization of that data where the hotel will be able to access and really be able to streamline their operations based on the visualization of the data in regards to the guest experience. Okay. You can actually customize this to be able to provide personal guest experiences such as details, capture information about different comments, different preferences, suggestions from the guests, as well as displaying different upsell opportunities within the product. Okay. Operations also see a benefit to visualization, being able to actually log in as different users. You're presented with different data that's going to be presented to you in a visual format to make it very easy to read and respond to that data, as well as your marketing team in regards to revenue, the different demographics that you're capturing from that reservation download, and how you update those reservations within the system. Okay. In this particular slide, we're going to review a couple of examples from one of our hotel partners. And we can see that data, when captured, can help hotels to anticipate and better automate repetitive business process flows, such as check-in and check-out. In our example here, our hotel partner actually added the StayNTouch mobile platform to their already thriving operating model. And through the data we captured from guests and check-in and check-out stats, they were able to actually optimize their operations by creating a specific digital experience to significantly cut down on wait times, lobby traffic, and improve overall GSS. To add to that, they also take advantage of opportunities to drive ancillary revenue from understanding guest needs to arrive perhaps maybe a little early or to stay a little later by implementing our unique upsell and enhancement offers in strategic parts of the guest journey through a digital guest engagement experience. Okay, here we can see as well the cycle of that particular data. So optimizing your operations with integrations is going to be key here. A well-integrated PMS can be the difference between taking advantage of the tip of the iceberg or the entire iceberg. At StayNTouch, we very strategically pair with the best-in-breed partners like CRMs, revenue management tools, direct messaging platforms, rewards programs, and operational suites that make best use of all of the PMS data. Even with the most capable PMS, integration is key to advance in automation technology, and there's an increasing need to simplify the process of management. Okay, integrated systems will also streamline processes, reduce costs, and increase efficiency overall for the hotel property.
Perfect. Thanks, Aldrich. So just hitting a little bit more on this data and the cycle of data and how we can actually reuse that data to make certain decisions in hotels. Can you talk a little bit more about the benefits of integrating PMSs with other systems? How does that data flow?
Absolutely. So when you integrate with other systems, you'll see one of the benefits are going to be accelerated growth and innovation. Those systems do allow you to really streamline different processes, like I said, with communicating to your guests, understanding your guests' needs, profile information that you exchange with different systems like CRMs. You're actually able to create and accelerate targeted advertisement campaigns. You're able to see real-time data. You have improved security within the exchange of that data between different systems. As well, you get better analysis. Some systems literally concentrate on data analysis to give you a more in-depth picture of what that looks like, what the information is that's coming from your PMS. You can also save on the cost of storage, And it just makes it easier sometimes for administrators to be able to operate in specific systems that are made for them, their departments, and their daily tasks.
Perfect. That's actually really good. I know a lot of people tend to think that using data, it's very highly useful for marketing. And I know that's one of the
Absolutely.
best parts of data, but it's great that you hit on the operational side of it too, because sometimes some data isn't really being optimized or utilized completely throughout that journey. So Josh, I'm actually going to hand this over to you. I think you'll be able to speak about it a bit more in detail.
Absolutely. Thank you, Karina. And thank you, everybody, for joining me today. So thanks. My name is Josh Binder. I'm the Director of Business Development at Nuvola. As you can see on this first opening slide, we're going to take action and simplify vital data to optimize back-of-house operations and elevate guest satisfaction. Nuvola is a cloud-based single destination, service optimization, and guest engagement software system. And as Karina noted, we're working with a little over 500 hotels in 30 countries around the world. Today, we're going to be looking at a couple different items. But first of all, I just want to say I'm appreciative of all your time. I'm really happy to be here and ready to rock and roll. So please go to the next slide, Karina. In this session, I'm going to show you some real-life examples of how to use simple data that will allow you to make logical, data-driven conclusions on how to improve daily operations within your hotel. Within the wide spectrum of data and analytics, most people get lost in the clutter of numbers, percentages, decimals, and other mathematical mumbo-jumbo. In most programs, when you pull a report, you end up getting a complex set of raw data on an Excel. Well, unless you know how to read raw data without a model, a graph, a chart, you're probably going to take a quick look at that Excel report, close your computer, take a deep, elongated breath, and go about your day. And I'll tell you right now, I do not blame any of you for doing that. That's why it's really important to work with service optimization programs that provide you with the tools to not only pull the data that's important, but display it in a way that's easily understood. After all, as reported by Social Science Research Network, 65% of us are visual learners. So the less amount of time you're worrying about building graphs and charts, mining the data, the more time you'll have to improve your daily operations and engage with guests. 3 simple questions we're going to keep top of mind throughout this short presentation are the following. Why am I running this report? Or in other words, what's the purpose? What data points do I need to evaluate? Or in other words, how am I actually going to achieve my why? And then how should I evaluate this data? Or in other words, where can I now utilize this data to improve my operations and enhance the guest experience? Please go to the next slide. Our first example is going to involve how to evaluate staff productivity. So the first question again, why are we running this report? To identify the strengths and the weaknesses of our staff, evaluate where we need to see the most improvement related to staff productivity, and optimize daily operations by putting staff in the best position to succeed. Setting up your team's individual responsibilities based on operational data will improve not only the efficiency of your staff, but it will also positively impact the guest experience by ensuring each guest gets what they need in a timely manner. So again, what data points do I need to evaluate? Status, assigned to, target, and date range. Those are all going to be highlighted at the top of the toolbar that you see right there. For status, we're selecting this because we want to ensure we're running a report for not only completed and closed service requests and work orders, but all work orders. For assigned, we're ensuring we're isolating the specific staff member we're running the report on. You could also use a department filter if you're looking to run productivity on an entire department. And then target. Most systems today, like Nuvola, for example, help develop accountability around the property by providing a target time, or in other words, what you may call a benchmark, or what you also may call a specified amount of time it should take at maximum to complete a guest request or work order. For this example, we're picking service requests and work orders that have a target time configured so that we can judge what percentage of tasks were completed on time versus delayed. And then, of course, the date range. If you want to provide recommendations to staff or make changes in roles and responsibility of your daily operations or any of your SOPs over a period of time, understanding the improvement or the regression of your staff's productivity during a designated time frame will be vitally important. If you don't know the productivity of staff month over month, or have the ability to compare past months to current data, or look at your older benchmarks, it's going to be hard to improve upon those benchmarks themselves. So our last question, how should I use this data? On the far left image, it shows a graph of the top 10 on-time tags, or in other words, tickets, if you will, of staff member, we'll just call him John. While the middle graph provides an image of staff member John's top 10 delayed tickets. Then finally on the right, we see staff member John's top 10 overall assigned tickets that he is primarily responsible for completing around the property. All of this data is based on John's last 6 months worth of work. When running a report on staff members' productivity, understanding what their responsibilities are, shown via the graph on the far right, what specifics take them the longest to complete, or in other words, where they're least efficient, shown in the graph in the middle, and what specific tasks take them the shortest amount of time to complete, or in other words, where are they most efficient, shown on the graph on the far left, will ultimately tell you a story of how to put the staff member in the best position to succeed. And that's the role of the supervisor within each dedicated department. Whether it be changing skill sets or configurations of assignments inside of your existing optimization system for notifications of things they need to go do around the property, or providing extra training for that staff member so that they can become more efficient in areas they struggle in, these graphs in this overall report will easily allow you, or any supervisors for that matter, to take action in enhancing daily operations at your hotel. Continuing to tweak roles and responsibility of staff on property based on this conclusive, easy to understand data is a simple way to ensure you're always improving daily operations. Next slide, please. Our next example focuses on optimizing guest rooms and common areas. So why are we running this report? To identify the locations around our property, whether it be guest rooms, common rooms, what have you, with high volume issues that negatively impact the guest experience. Once we've identified the culprit locations, we'll want to dig deeper in understanding what the specific issues are. When we have that data, we can develop an action plan to prevent the same issues from occurring as often in the future. The point of this report is very, very simple. To simply reduce the amount of service requests for issues guests are having inside of their respective rooms. So what data do I need to evaluate? For this example, we'll run 2 simple reports, all with the same filters: category, location, date range, and then type if you have that. Category, depending on whether we're looking for all issues, guest-specific issues, or only back-of-house issues, we'll need to select the appropriate category filter. For this example, we're going to select all, regardless of whether the issue stemmed from a request made by a guest or it was found by a staff member at another time while cleaning or inspecting the room. Locations, for the first report, you'll want to have all locations selected. We do not want to isolate any specific location itself. And then type. For type, if you can, please apply a top 10 filter to the report so that you're only pulling data that stems from the top 10 locations with the highest volume of issues. If you do not have this capability in your optimization system, you can simply export it to Excel, and then you can filter in ascending order so that you manually will see which locations give you the highest volume of requests and work orders, and then remove the rest of the data. Of course, your date range is also going to be vitally important, because if you want to evaluate short-term and long-term trend tracking and set up benchmarking, again, you always want to make sure you're utilizing consistent date ranges, month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year, whatever it may be. Once we have this report created and displayed in a visual way, which is shown via the graph in the middle, it becomes clear that room 908 is our biggest culprit, accounting for 24.8% of requests and work orders. So let's use that as our example moving forward. For our second part, we're going to use the same exact filters, but instead of all locations, we're now going to isolate room 908. When doing so, you'll then see via the graph on the right-hand side that bath towel requests, television issues, AC issues, and toilet issues are all involved in the top 4 of the highest volume tags. Now I ask myself, how should I use this data? If it is something as simple as bath towel requests, we can run a quick test to solve it by leaving 1 extra set of bath towels in the room when we turn it over. When we run the same report again during our next scheduled data pull, we'll be able to tell whether the volume of bath towel requests have decreased month over month, quarter over quarter, or over the last 6 months, whatever it is that we're looking at from a date range perspective. Continue to test new ways to reduce the amount of bath towel requests you're receiving until a substantial change is seen. The same example could be applied to any other products in the guest room, like high volume of shampoo bottle requests, maybe extra hair dryers, lotions, tissues, water bottles, or even toilet paper, whatever it may be. Now, in the event where there's consistent issues related to the TV, toilet, or a seat, this data helps to tell a story about the reliability of the asset itself. If we keep having to fix the TV, it might be time to replace it instead of putting a Band-Aid type of repair over it. The same thing can be said for any other asset, again, like the AC or toilet, for example. By continuing to pull and evaluate these reports on a consistent basis and testing new ways to reduce recurring issues will alleviate the common pain points of Room 908, reduce the overall amount of guest requested work orders for issues that you found in the room, and ultimately increase your guest satisfaction by room cleanliness and room quality. Next slide, please. Now, as you've seen, for the sake of our very quick webinar, I've only used 2 examples of how to use simple data to make simple decisions about improving daily operations. And again, this is all in an effort to enhance the guest experience. But remember a couple different things. Simplicity is powerful when data is used consistently and correctly, especially when it's displayed in a visual way that is easy to understand. So when you're ready to start using simple data, first ask yourself a couple questions, specifically 3. Why, what, and how? Then take action by testing the data in a real-world scenario and repeat the process. After all, as long as you're always curious, humble, and willing to listen to the data, you'll never stop learning. That's it for me and the Nuvola team, Karina. Thank you.
Awesome, Josh. Thank you. So, because you seem to be the data expert, I do have a quick question. How do you help clients not feel less overwhelmed by the data they're utilizing and the reports that they're creating?
Sure, and you hit it on the head. I'm a bit of a data nerd, so I don't take that personally. But at Nuvola, we really work with hotels. We are all former hoteliers, so the only type of reporting, statistics, and analytics that we used to get when we worked in hotels all stemmed from Excel reports and raw data. And then we ended up having to rely on someone internally to mine the data, tell us what the results were, and then try to make changes. And, it was helpful, but it was really a lengthy process that became relatively inefficient because, as we all know, as hoteliers, it's a dynamic industry. There's always new changes. There's always new guest requests. There's always new issues. That's precisely why we really take out that middleman, or the person that would actually have to pull that data, analyze it on Excel, run models, and be able to display it to you. So with easy to understand visuals like graphs, charts, and tables, like I've shown just a couple on this presentation, any supervisor who has a few minutes can easily review the data and take action, ultimately reducing the feeling of being overwhelmed and allowing the hotels to make adjustments quickly in a dynamic world. That is the hospitality industry. Everybody wants things done faster, so displaying that data in a visual format in an easy way is going to allow them to take action quickly and efficiently.
Perfect. So I'm sure as well, hitting the head again in marketing, because we're huge on marketing, but I do understand too that the data that you guys can also extract even for operations, and going back to the PMS, like the data that's being created based on stay cards and the guests and their shopping habits. I know that there's also a way for us to utilize that to actually attract more guests and ultimately bring back and continue winning guests that we've already had stay at hotels before. So Jessica, if you can talk more about the insight and marketing results that ultimately lead to one of the highest, if not best, net revenue year over year, that'd be perfect.
Hello, everyone. As the cashback rewards program built by hoteliers for hoteliers, we're constantly fielding research to help our hotel customers better understand the wants and needs of their guests. So if we can go to the next page. With this study, we specifically wanted to understand those travelers who prefer boutique hotels, because knowing them better will help our hotelier partners drive more direct bookings and increase direct revenue. So we called this white paper Understanding Boutique Aficionados, Harnessing Actionable Insights to Drive Direct Bookings. And on the next page, we'll go through our two-part methodology. The first stage was a quantitative study in which we talked to over 1,000 Americans over the age of 25 with household incomes above 75,000. Now, all of the respondents had stayed in boutique hotels, including soft brands, at least 3 times in the previous 12 months. That's why we call them boutique aficionados. Now, the second phase was qualitative research conducted via usertesting.com, where we video recorded 16 Americans through every phase of the travel planning cycle, from choosing a destination to researching their hotels to their mode of transportation. We watched every step of the vacation planning process. And today we're going to share some of those top-line insights with you. But even though the study focused on boutique hotel guests, we think it's relevant to all hoteliers that are needing to accelerate the planning funnel for their hotels. So let's dive in on the next page. The first thing that we wanted to know is why. Why do they travel? What emotional need does traveling or a vacation fulfill for them? And what we found is a majority use a vacation for learning and experiencing new things. Some wanted to experience food and drink. Some wanted to change their perspective or be the first to go to a new destination. Others just wanted to be pampered, and others wanted to be physically challenged. Now, on the next page, we looked a little bit further into the data, and this is where we had our first aha moment. That when we sliced and diced the information by the generations, we found that baby boomers were the cohort that most preferred to try a new destination so they could tell their friends about it. And those aged 50 to 65 had the highest preference for being physically challenged during a vacation. And what this shows is don't prejudge. Listen to the data, use the research to gain new insights, and then leverage it and take advantage of it in learning something new. Let's go to the next slide. So once we understood why they wanted to why they were vacationing, we wanted to know why they preferred staying at boutique hotels over change. And most were looking for a very unique personal experience. Some wanted a better location that was associated with boutique hotels. Some were looking for luxury, and many were looking for a hotel that fit their personality. Let's go to the next page. So once we understood these motivations, we wanted to understand how they found out about boutique hotels and then how they booked these hotels. 17% found out about boutique hotels from recommendation from friends and family. Next was a combination of price comparison sites, recommendation sites, search sites, and at the bottom of the list were paid advertising mediums. So what we can see as marketing directors at hotels, we have a lot of levers that we need to take advantage of, but it's not going to be easy. These aren't paid mediums. In some case, we have to influence those recommendations from friends and family if we really want to make an impact. But how they find out about the hotels isn't necessarily how they end up booking. There was a difference there. So even though 42% reserved from an OTA in this study, 30% after doing all of their research preferred to use the hotel's website to actually book their stay. And this is important and something that hoteliers need to take advantage of. Let's go to the next slide. We found out during the study that planning travel is a long process for these boutique aficionados. They're discriminating and they want to do a lot of research, but that doesn't necessarily indicate that this is an arduous experience for them. In fact, only 20% reported negative emotions such as frustration or confusion when they were planning travel. To the contrary, almost 80% experienced positive feelings like excitement, joy, surprise, and anticipation when they were planning travel. And I think this is something that we need to understand and take advantage of as we're creating our websites, as we're creating our marketing materials, that this is a joyous experience that we need to match and be relevant for when we're creating our marketing messages. On the next page, we dove into what these boutique aficionados are looking for when they're on a hotel's website. And of course, number one is an accurate description and a full description of the rooms. But actually hearing from past guests was very important. They wanted reviews from past guests, photos from past guests, professional photography, and appeal of the website design was very important to them. And we also asked what would cause them to bounce? What would cause them to leave your website and go elsewhere? And of course, high prices were the number one reason, as well as lack of information on room and amenities. But also, the experience of the website was very important. If the photos or the website design wasn't attractive, that made them think twice about wanting to stay there. But also the website taking too long to load was a major determining factor of if they left a website. Let's go to the next page. But once we have them on the website, what is the motivating factor to get them to book? And in our study, we found that a cash back message was superior to gift cards, charitable donations, merchandise, points, and other perks. And at the Guestbook, we're a cashback rewards program. So this was assuring to us that cashback was still king and still a motivator to get guests to book direct on your website. Let's go to the next page. So these were just a few insights from our 11-page white paper. And I can summarize some of the takeaways in 5 points. Be more relevant by leveraging and understanding the motivations of these boutique aficionados to get away. Build the desire to book direct. These are smart travelers. They prefer to book direct on your website, but they need an excuse to do it. You know, compel guests to share because they're your most impactful marketing medium. Elevate the online user experience, and details make the difference in your marketing materials and your website. So not only in the white paper do we give you these 5 takeaways, we give you tips for how to do this. And on the next page, our 6th takeaway, don't forget about the power of cash back to drive more direct bookings and net revenue. And at the Guestbook, we're the premier cashback platform for independent hotels. We give your guests the freedom of choice of 5% cash back, charitable donations, or 15% cash forward towards a future stay at any of the Guestbook hotels. So we're driving revenue for you. But in addition to providing this platform, we're a good partner. You know, as hoteliers ourselves, we're constantly doing research like this to ensure that our hotel partners are knowledgeable about their guests and constantly boosting their bottom line. Thank you.
Perfect, Jessica. Thank you. I'm not gonna lie, I am definitely one of those people who book hotels directly on their website when I do see the cashback reward, either on the main page of their site or while I'm booking. And then I also read the white paper, which definitely had a lot of tips in there. Would you, by any chance, can you actually share where, if some of these hoteliers are interested, where they can download the white paper so they can have those tips with them at all times?
Absolutely. They can go to the guestbook.com/hoteliers/insights, and they can download this white paper as well as the other white papers that we constantly provide to our hotel partners.
Perfect. All right. So I just want to sum up the presentation. I know there's a lot of information and a whole lot of data. So as you guys have been repeating over and over, we definitely need to be able to collect this data, analyze it, and consolidate it so that way we can use it in the future for any of our marketing strategies, or whether it is to have more guests engage or have them come back, so that way we are growing this net revenue and not having that data just sit in a system and let it accumulate over time. So I kind of want to do the same thing and kind of break down one of our greatest takeaway from each presenter. So I'll start off with Aldrich first, and then make our way down from Josh and then Jessica.
Absolutely. So for the StayNTouch PMS, we say that guest engagement is key to gather insight on how to anticipate needs and easily improve hotel service levels. You want to use synthesized data from your PMS and as well as your integrations to make data-driven decisions.
Perfect. And Josh?
Yes, thanks. So some of you might be familiar with the acronym KISS, Keep It Simple Stupid. We like to say keep it simple smart. And that's really all based on displaying data visually, being consistent with evaluating the reports on a recurring basis, and all so that you can create benchmarks to improve staff productivity, room quality, and guest experiences.
Thank you, Josh. And Jessica, if you can give us your takeaway.
Sure. Cashback works. We're dealing with very discriminating travelers who perform a lot of research before they travel. They need a reason to book directly with the hotel, and cashback is that incentive that gives them the freedom of choice. It gives them a reason to feel smart, and it gives them that final reason to book directly with you.
Perfect. Thank you, Jessica. So now we're going to open up the Q&A for the audience. Again, you guys can use the chat box that's located at the bottom of your screen to send in your questions. But Jessica, I do have a question that just came in right after your presentation. And someone has asked, why is cashback such a powerful incentive for guests?
Sure. It's because guests don't necessarily believe in discounts. They don't necessarily care about gift cards for brands that they don't have relationships with. But cash back makes sense to people. When they see 5% cash back, they can very easily do the math, and they have the power of choice of how to use those dollars in their hands. So it's a very powerful psychological motivator that our research has proven really drives direct bookings.
Awesome. And I have another question. I think this would be best for Aldrich. What is the most important data that's captured by a PMS?
Sure, Karina. So this is definitely what I consider a multifaceted question, because we really have to dive deep to understand where perhaps a hotel's deficiencies are. Are you not attracting enough business? And perhaps you need to take a look at your market data to understand maybe how you develop a targeted marketing campaign. So then you're pulling information from your profile details so that you can pull that out and actually apply that towards that marketing campaign to reach the guests that you need to reach, or perhaps to advertise on specific channels that you need to have access on to bring in that additional business. So I really think it's something that a hotel needs to really dive into and understand where the deficiencies are, to understand perhaps even what integrations they need to add to the platform, the PMS platform that you have. I feel like a PMS should definitely allow you to integrate with some of the best in breed programs that allow you to optimize the data that's coming out of the PMS, to be able to visualize it, to synthesize it, and really help you be more efficient at being operational.
Perfect. And Josh, I have a question for Nuvola specifically. Once this data is at a hotelier's staff fingertips, how can they make it work in a continual way to improve process and the guest experience at the hotel?
Sure, yeah, happy to help. Well, when thinking about data, we really have to keep the notion of consistency in mind. I think there's been a couple key words that you've heard me talk about: simplicity, consistency, visuals. And we really, when it comes to actually continuing to improve processes and the guest experience of the property, we need to be consistent. So, if you use insights from data on a one-time basis, sure, it could end up helping in the short term with a one-off type of problem. But you're never really going to see the long-term benefit. So in order to improve processes over time, and the guest experience for that matter, hotels really need to consistently pull data, analyze it, and make adjustments over time. In tandem with being consistent, we really want to have a better understanding of where we were compared to where we're going. Or in other words, being able to understand the improvement or the regression, if it's a negative, of the results. All of those are equally important. You want to know how well you're doing and how poorly you're doing and where you can improve and where you're most efficient, right? So improvement and regression are both equally important. That's why we always advise hotels to develop benchmarks and to always try to improve upon their target times, or basically the maximum amount of time something should take to be completed around the property. Benchmark could also be described when I say that it's a standard or a point of reference against where things were compared and assessed from the future and the past. So if you're continuing to beat expectations and rise above your benchmarks, that means you're continuing to improve. But if you're falling short of your benchmark, it may be time to test or rethink some of your existing standard operating procedures. At the end of the day, again, it's repeating that same thing over and over again. If you're not seeing any changes and you're expecting different results, it's a flawed way to improve any processes, let alone one at a hotel. So consistency, always understanding that you need to have a benchmark to see where you're going versus where you were, and always being consistent in pulling those reports and analyzing it over time is going to be helpful for improving processes.
Perfect. So I have a question I think everyone can answer. So someone's asked, do all of these offer remote use via laptop, iPad, or phone? I think there's a question you guys can all answer. So I'll just start off with Josh since you finished, and then Jessica and Audric, you guys can answer right after.
Sure, happy to. What was the question? Apologies, Karina.
I'm sorry. So do all of these offer remote use via laptop, iPad, or phone? So I guess, do the softwares, can they be used on any type of platform, I guess, to view data or to collect data?
Sure, yeah. So operationally, most optimization systems out there have the ability now to at least be utilized somewhat mobilely and on desktop. At Nuvola, we're fully comprehensive for our staff device, for our staff member applications, or even guest applications on multitude of devices. So for staff at Nuvola, you can utilize the system on smartphones, tablets, desktops, iOS devices, Android devices. And because we're a cloud-based solution, we provide unlimited users, unlimited app downloads, unlimited data storage on our servers for all of our clients, and 24/7 in-house support, which is also coupled with a customer success team to help you guys get better insights on what the data you're seeing inside of the system and how to actually utilize that and take action on it. Inside of our system specifically, you can run reports and statistics and pull the reports directly from the desktop side, but you can, of course, view them on any device of your choice. So whether you're working on the property, off the property, walking around the property, you always have the system available to you.
Perfect. And Jessica, if you can answer the same question.
Sure. The Guestbook is a SaaS-based cashback rewards platform. We facilitate that program on behalf of the hotel, but the hotelier is constantly involved and can view all of the rewards data on a dashboard that can be viewed on any platform or any device.
Perfect. And Audric.
Absolutely, Karina. So our StayNTouch PMS platform is going to be completely 100% web-based. It is a cloud product, so you're able to use it on any device. We're a device and operating system agnostic, so you can use this across multiple platforms and operating systems, as well as our Zest digital guest engagement tools. They are meant to be used and designed to be optimized on mobile devices. So we are a mobile-first cloud platform. Absolutely.
Perfect. So I'm actually going to wrap up the webinar a bit earlier. If you guys have any more questions or you have a product-specific question, feel free to email us at karina.vidal@shijigroup.com. I'll forward your emails to any of our speakers if it's something specific to Nuvola or the Guestbook. I will also send out right after this presentation within 24 hours, I'll send you guys an on-demand link so you can review this presentation. I know we had a lot of information, a lot of tricks that you can also implement with your hotel. And I'll also attach the PowerPoint slide deck so you guys can view it as well and share it with your teams. And then I'm going to add a few little extra bonuses within our email. So definitely look forward to it. Definitely click and open it. There are going to be a bunch of information for you guys to download the whitebook and for you guys to connect individually with these speakers if you want to see more about the products. So once again, thank you so much, everyone. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me and I will direct your email to the appropriate person. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Karina.